Hey guys, it's Kim here from Your Chic Geek, and I know I don't normally come on and show my face, but I figured, you know what, I haven't popped on in quite a while, so I figured I would use this as an opportunity just for a little bit to say hey to you guys. I hope you all are doing well, and I hope that you guys are staying safe out there and all of that good stuff. So in today's video tutorial, guys, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be walking you guys through how to create quotes coloring pages using SVG files. We're going to create the actual SVG file in Canva, and it's going to be something custom, so I'm going to show you guys how to do that. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go into Affinity Publisher to actually edit the file, to add the SVG file to a coloring page background, which we're going to get from Creative Fabrica, and then we're going to actually upload the file itself, or the entire file, but we're going to actually upload that back into Canva to create our coloring page. But I hope you guys are all doing safe out there. Thank you so much for tuning in to this channel. So I'm going to go ahead and cut frame. Okay guys, so as I stated, we're going to be using a couple of resources to do this. We're going to be using Canva Pro to create the SVG file. We're going to also be using Affinity Publisher to create the quotes coloring page. And then we're going to be using Creative Fabrica to go and download the mandala coloring backgrounds which a lot of people use for their background pages. So first things first is I'm just going to go over in Creative Fabrica, and I'm just going to go and just do mandala coloring. You see coloring interior. You can type that in and just click enter, and it should start bringing up a ton of different coloring interiors for you to go ahead and use on your coloring pages. As you can see, there's 50 right here with florals. There's all kinds. I'm not going to go through all of these, but you definitely want to go in and download a background first. Okay, so after you have downloaded the mandala coloring pages that you want to use, you're going to make sure that you unzip these. Okay, and here you can see these are the PNG files right here. So I'm going to Control-Shift-End, and I'm gonna extract these to a new folder on my desktop, and we'll do mandala coloring page backgrounds. Okay, so we'll do that, and then I'll just click OK to extract those there. Then once I'm finished downloading these, I'm going to go ahead and hop over to Affinity Publisher, which you can get Affinity Publisher. It is a kind of a more advanced program, but it's a vector editing program, the post coloring pages that we're doing right now. But I'm going to go into Affinity Publisher. So I'm going to go to File, and I'm going to go to New. And since we're going to be doing a coloring page with bleed, I'm going to go ahead and go down here to inches, and then I'm going to do 8.625, and then I'm going to do 11.25 for the page width and the page height, because that includes the bleed calculations in this already. Okay, and so then I'm going to select create, and so it's going to go ahead and create this page for me. Now the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to click on the place image tool. Okay, and then I'm going to go to my desktop, which is here, and I'm just going to grab one of these mandala pages, which I think this is cute. And then I'm going to drag this as my background right here. Okay, and I'm just going to fill this page, and that is going to be it for that. Okay, now the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to pop over into Canva, and this is where we're going to create our SVG file. Okay, so what I'm going to do in Canva is I'm going to go to Create a Design, and I'm going to go to pixels instead of inches, and then I'm going to do 2000 by 2000 to have something that's big enough in pixels, and then I'm going to click Create a Design. So this is where we're actually going to create a custom quote. Okay, so I'll do custom quote SVG for the title, and then this is where we can actually go and start creating a custom quote. So what I would recommend is you can actually just come over here and you can just start grabbing different kinds of text to create your quotes. So I'm going to just do something like, you know, make yourself a priority. This is going to be the quote that I'm going to kind of doctor up. Now what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start dragging this around to make this a little bit bigger, And then this is where you can actually start having fun, okay? So what I like to do with my little quotes is I like to add things to it, you know, like different designs. So I'm gonna first go ahead and take some of the space out of this. So I'll do like a 1.2 for the spacing, and then we can actually make this a little bit bigger. So I'm gonna bring this in, and then I'm going to just make this a little bit bigger because I want this to be as big as possible, okay? All right, and then I'm gonna start, you know, playing around with the fonts. So I'm gonna use a font that I've downloaded from Creative Fabrica. It's called Legends. I really like this font, and so you can just come in here and just change all of this into the one font, or you can actually start changing this into different fonts. But I think for the sake of this, I'm just gonna leave this as one font, okay? So now I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna take some more space out of this. Okay, so this looks pretty good. And then I'm just gonna, again, make this bigger, okay? And then what you can do from here, guys, and this is the fun part, is you can actually come over into Canva and you can go to elements and you can start adding different things like hearts to this if you want to. So I'm gonna find a cute little set of hearts to add to this, to the make yourself a priority quote, because this is gonna be something really custom, you know, that you can kind of add to your coloring page. So I'm going to change the color to black, and then we can do like little, you know, let's see here, like decorative lines. I like to look for that, decorative lines with hearts. So I'm going to search for that. Okay, so I found this cute little heart here that I'm going to use, and then I'm just going to use a solid heart at the top here. So I'm just going to pop this over in here to put this here. And so this is where you really can kind of come in and get super creative and add different things, different elements and stuff like that to really make your quotes stand out, okay? So, but this is what I'm gonna do here. All right, so we'll do 0.8, kind of bring that down just a little bit. And this is our custom little quote. Actually, I'm gonna do another heart and just kind of make this like this. And we can leave that like that. I think that looks pretty good. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to download, and I think this is only available in Canva Pro, but I'm gonna go to SVG, okay? And then I'm gonna make sure that I click transparent image or transparent background, because we don't want anything on the background for this specific quote that we're creating. So I'm gonna do download, and it's gonna go ahead and download this as an SVG file. Now what we're gonna do is I'm gonna pop back over into Affinity Publisher, okay? This is Affinity Publisher. I'm gonna go to File, Open, and we're gonna open the SVG file that we just downloaded from Canva, which is Custom Quote SVG. So we're gonna open this. As you can see, this is what the quote actually looks like, okay? Now what we need to do is I'm going to drag, first off, I'm gonna make sure that this Move tool is selected, and we're gonna put what I've heard is called some kind of banding box around this. I think that's what Paul calls it. Thank you, Paul. But I'm gonna put this around this, and then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna right click on this, and I'm going to select copy, because we wanna copy this and we want to paste this over onto this image. So I'm gonna go to right click and I'm gonna click paste, okay? Now, the first thing that I'm gonna do after I do that is I'm gonna right click again without messing with anything else, and I'm going to group this, because I wanna group this entire vector file as one image. So you see what it did over here to the right? It grouped things. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come here and I'm gonna start dragging this down, but to make this fit onto this coloring page. So I'm gonna drag this, and you can kind of tell when it's in the lines because you're gonna see that blue line right there. It's a little difficult to see because of the busy background, okay? So now we have this grouped over here to the right. Now the next thing that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna right click on this grouped set of texture, and then I'm going to select duplicate. Okay, so you can see we have one layer of the text right here, and then we have the next layer of the text right here. Now this is the fun part. This is where we're going to start adding in the strokes and different things like that to create the actual coloring page. So what I'm going to do is, while this is selected, okay, this is highlighted in blue, I'm going to come over here into the fill and stroke section over here to the top. I'm going to select fill, and then I'm going to select the color white, okay? And then for the stroke, I'm going to select black. Okay. Now you can click on this. Let's see here. You can click on color, and this is where you can actually start adding in your color. So if it didn't come up for you, you can actually come down here and type in the hexadecimal color code for this, which is going to be black. So that's going to be 00000. And white is FFFFFF. I think it's like 6 times or something like that. Okay, but that's that. So we have that done. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to highlight the next group of text. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to select fill. You see what it did? It changed that to white. And then for the stroke, which is the border or the outline of the text, we're going to change that from just nothing to black. Okay, so you see what happened? It kind of changed the color of this border. Now here's where the magic comes in. Once you start messing or kind of playing around with the fill and the stroke from the different groups of text, you can come over here to where it says for stroke under width, and then you can start going over to the right. So you see what it's doing? Okay, so you're going to start adjusting that. Okay, and then what you can do is click and highlight the second group of text, and you can do the same thing. So you can come over here, and this is where you can actually start coming in. So you see that? It's pretty cool, right? And this is where you can come in and kind of start adjusting the fill and the stroke for this coloring page. So I'm actually going to do this as this. I'm going to make this like this. And then what I can do is I can come back up here and I can kind of make this a little bit more narrow. So you see what I'm doing here? So the white is way more pronounced now. And so when people come and color this page, they still have this background here, and then they have the hearts and all of that good stuff with the quote. And I think this is actually a cute little quotes coloring page. So after you're done, then what you're going to do is you're going to come over here to the left. You're going to go to File in Affinity Publisher, and then you're going to go to Export. Okay, so you're going to export this file as not as a PDF, but as a PNG, because we're going to upload this into Canva. So I'm going to select PNG, and then I'm going to go ahead and click on Export, and then I'm going to export this to my desktop, and I'm just going to do quotes coloring page 1. Okay, so that's going to export to my desktop. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop over into Canva, and then I'm going to go to here. Okay, and this is where I've actually made an actual page book, but the coloring page that I'm putting together. And this is where I'm going to upload the page that we just created from Affinity Publisher into Canva. So here what I did is I just went to, create a design, and then I went to create this design as an 8.65 by 11.25 document. So you can see that over here. This is the width and this is the height of this page, and I just added a little border around it. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Uploads. I'm going to go to Upload Media, and then I'm going to go to my desktop where I exported that page, and this is the coloring page right here. I'm going to click Open. Okay, and so I'm going to wait until this finishes uploading in Canva, and then I'm going to pop this right on over into Canva. And then I'm going to, and you can do the same thing, guys, for any program that you're using. If you're using PowerPoint, if you're using Keynote, whatever it is that you're using, you can definitely do this in. And so the last thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of the edging off of this page. So to do that, I'm just going to double click on this, and then I'm just going to bring this in a little bit because I want the border to show on this particular coloring page. Okay, so I'm just going to do this, and that is it. But I think this actually came out really cute, considering that we created this SVG file in Canva and we actually created a coloring page. Okay, so now for those of you who just really don't want to start from scratch, you kind of want something that's going to make your life a lot easier and you don't have to worry about trying to come up with design, there's definitely a way that you can do that. So what you would do is in Canva, you would come over to the element section and you would just type in quote. And then what I would do is I would actually come over here and click on graphics. And then this is where you can kind of start coming in and looking at all of the different quotes that they have. So this is really, really cute. The only thing about it is the text with the kind of chalkboardish look. I'm not really sure how that would turn out, but this is actually a quote that potentially could be used. So we're going to keep looking here and see if we can find something that has more of a chunkier kind of text to it. So here's some right here. So I'm going to click on these, Okay, now these are perfect. So what you can do is, if for example, if you wanted to do something like just believe in your dream, what you can do is just kind of stretch this out a little bit. And then what you can do is you can actually start coming in and adding some of your own kind of different elements to this. So maybe if you wanted to, add some hearts or some stars, let's just do stars here. And so I'm going to add these stars to this specific quote. I'm going to change this to black. And then I'm going to add it again, maybe put one over in the corner. And this is where you can kind of have fun. You just kind of want to make them as much as your own as you possibly can. So what I'm going to do now, guys, is we're going to do the same process. I'm just going to download this, okay, as a SVG file. I'm going to make sure that transparent background is selected. And this is page number 2. So I'm going to select page number 2. And then I'm going to go ahead and click download. So I'm going to go back over to Affinity Publisher. I've already added page number 2 with this background. So what we're going to do is we're going to first go to File and we're going to go to Open. I'm going to open this SVG file and then I'm going to highlight everything in this SVG file. I'm going to select Copy, okay? And then I'm going to go back over to my document and I'm going to right click and I'm going to do Paste. We do right click and Group to group all of the text together, okay, to make it one thing of text. So then this is where you want to come down and you can actually start kind of bringing this in, and we're just going to modify this to make this a lot smaller. Okay, so now we have our quote and I'm going to put this in the middle. Okay, and the last thing that we want to do is I'm going to come over here under group. I'm going to go to right click and click duplicate, and then this is where you can start adjusting your stroke and your fill. So I'm going to go over to the left, click fill. I'm going to change that to white to make that white. And for the stroke, I'm going to do black. And then this is where you can start adjusting things. So you see that? That looks pretty cute. All right. And then I'm going to come down to the bottom and I'm going to select white for the fill. And then for the stroke, I'm going to select black. And then here with this selected, this is where you can actually come in and start doing this. Now, I think this looks really, really good. I think this is a very cute coloring page from an SVG file that we've gotten in Canva. So once you're done with this coloring page, again, you're just going to go to File, Export this as a PNG, and then I'm going to export this, and then I'll do quotes coloring page -2. Okay, and that's it. And so then you would go back into Canva, and we're going to go back to the page, but I'm going to add a duplicate page. I'm going to delete this. I'm going to go here and go to Upload Media. I'm going to go to my desktop. I'm going to find this page. I'm going to open this. And then again, I'm just going to upload this as a coloring page to my project that I'm working on. Okay, now guys, once you're done with creating the quotes coloring pages that you want to sell, all right, all you're going to do is come over to download, and then you're going to download your pages as a PDF standard file. And so I'm just going to download these, and then we're just going to take a look to see how this file looks. Now what you can do after this is you can upload them to your e-commerce processor, and you can sell these pages as coloring pages, or you can just keep them as an interior that you can use for an actual coloring book. Now, the one thing that I will say is I would have made this border a little bit thicker, so I'm just going to go and just do that real quick because it's a little thin and it's hard to see. So I'm just going to go here and I'm just going to bring this down just a little bit, and then there we go. Because it needs to be a little bit more pronounced. It's kind of thin. All right, so I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to make this black. Okay, so that's an actual quotes coloring page, and I think these look really, really good. So guys, I hope you enjoyed the video tutorial. Please be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you around in the next video, guys. Thanks, and stay safe out there.